how does foreclosure law work? What's the interplay between federal and state law? And what do you need to know to understand foreclosure law in your state? All right, there's a lot of crap out there. Here is the 30,000 foot view of the whole thing so you understand. There's state law and there's federal law. Federal law applies to all 50 states. Duh. State law applies state by state. Equally duh. So how do they interplay and what's the difference? Federal law governs how the mortgage servicer, the bank that's trying to collect against you, must behave when dealing with you with regard to your supposed debt, the secured debt secured by the mortgage on your house. That's what federal law does. A lot of videos that I have about federal law and how it impacts. Let's move to state law, because each state has the right to determine how real property law works. So real property law includes how a secured creditor, like a mortgage servicer or a mortgage lender, can collect against the house if the payments aren't made according to them. All right? So under state law, there are 4 different types. Okay? It's a little complicated. I'll go clearly as I can. Hit me up with questions and I'll follow up in your various states. Okay, first of all, there are 2 different mechanisms in the states. There are judicial states and non-judicial states. A judicial state is a state in which a borrower, a bank, or a mortgage servicer has to go to court, has to seek judicial permission to foreclose on a property. A non-judicial state means that the bank only needs to go to the clerk's office and follow a certain process and procedure to quickly effectuate a foreclosure on a property. What that means is, in judicial states, the homeowner is a defendant. In the non-judicial state, homeowners are plaintiffs suing the bank who are trying to foreclose. All right, there are law school classes to be taught over a year of more details on that. But that's the basic understanding, and you got to understand which you are, and you can look it up. New Jersey is a judicial state. Maryland is a non-judicial state. For example, just 2 out of 50. And the other thing is whether there's a lien theory state or a fee theory state. Now, this is sort of really getting into the weeds of real property law, but you got to understand it. Vermont is a fee theory state. New Jersey is a lien theory state. So under a lien theory state, a borrower, when they buy a house and take a mortgage out on it, remains the owner of the house. And the bank has a lien, known as a mortgage, over the property, but the borrower owns the house. In a fee theory state, the bank, when they issue the mortgage, takes the fee, takes the ownership of the house, and the borrower has a right to remain so long as the mortgage is current and all that kind of stuff, going back to dealing with the foreclosure. So the point I'm trying to get here is 2 different processes, 2 different things, that how each state can govern the ownership and termination of interest in real property. Is this complicated? Oh, hell yes. Oh, hell yes, this is massively complicated. But let's go through it again real quickly. There's 4 choices. Your state could be a lien theory state, could be a fee theory state. Your state could be a judicial state and a non-judicial state. New Jersey is a judicial state and a lien state. That means that in New Jersey, the homeowner owns the property and the bank has to sue the homeowner to convince a court to change the name on the deed from the homeowner's name to the bank's name. Make sense? Great. That's just one example. I practice in New Jersey. That's the state I know the best. I know plenty of other states. I have attorneys in different states that I work with, but that's the state I know 100%. All right, so I hope that helps you understand the basic framework. Understand also that because this is so complicated, if you run into someone, a non-attorney, saying, hey, I can solve your problem with this, with that, with the other, they're probably full of crap. Because what I'm talking about is 20 years of expertise in New Jersey litigation and 20 years of expertise in dealing with federal court and federal litigation. This is really, really complicated stuff. It's solvable most of the time, but you got to deal with an expert. Doesn't have to be me. Just don't fall victim to these knuckleheads that are sending you postcards promising you the sun, the moon, and the stars, or calling you on your cell phone promising you the same thing. It's all nonsense. All right, anyway, look, I hope it's helpful. Be well, people. Be strong. Later.